Hi guys, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for dropping by. Today's video I'm going to be talking a little bit more about my admission to the hospital, some things that I learned, like what illnesses are at the root of all my health issues and which two cause the majority of my health issues. So I think it's natural when anybody becomes sick that they wonder how they got their illness, and most times there's no answer. And when you're diagnosed with multiple illnesses, you do kind of wonder, okay, did one cause the rest of them? Is it two that caused the rest of them? Which one came first? There's a lot of questions when you become chronically ill with multiple illnesses. And most times, like I said, there is no answer for us, unfortunately. But to my surprise, one of the rheumatologists that I had seen in the hospital actually had a theory on how this all began and which illnesses are at the root of it all, which I found very fascinating. And my one friend did ask me if it made a difference for me emotionally, and I do feel like it did bring a little bit more closure with being sick. I feel like my diagnosis are kind of more concrete now, if that makes sense, and just knowing what caused what, I don't know, it just does really help. It helps me to understand what's going on, because for me, logic really helps me to stay sane with it all. If I can figure out how to explain why a symptom's going on or what's going on, it really just helps me personally. So she feels that Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and ulcerative colitis are the two diseases that are at the root of all my health issues. They would be my two primary issues. I was, of course, born with EDS. Due to the list of my internal birth defects, we wonder if I was a conjoined twin, which I did briefly mention, I believe, in another video, but I'm going to talk a little bit more here about it. So I'm wondering, though there's no research on it, that if we were conjoined twins, that I would have EDS with less collagen and that she would have more collagen, and I don't know specifically what disease that would be, but that's kind of my theory at the time. For anybody who's wondering about my internal birth defects, I have 3 kidneys. 2 of them are fused together on my right hand side and they overlap. So on a CAT scan, it actually, when the tech reads it, it looks like this ginormous kidney. Like, I think it's twice the size of my left one. And nobody ever thought that was a little bit strange. So, but it's pretty big. So those 2 overlap, and then I have 2 ureters, which is a tube that connects your kidney to your bladder, and mine are twisted up fairly tightly around one another. Then I have an arm bone in my abdomen. I have other bone spurs, which I don't know if they're just bone spurs or extra parts, some of them. I do have extra vertebrae. So that's kind of where we're thinking. And there are other things as to why I think that I was probably a conjoined twin. So for anybody who doesn't know, EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, is a connective tissue disorder which is genetic. In EDS, there's a lack of an abundant protein in the human body, which is collagen. It's the glue that holds your body together. Needless to say, EDS affects every system in the body. Joints are extremely unstable and hypermobile in my case. There are multiple types of EDS. I'm just talking about the hypermobility type at the moment because that's what we're leaning towards me having. I have heard people mention classical EDS. I'm not sure if it's both, if it's one or the other, but we're trying to finish getting that sorted out. So, and skin tends to be very stretchy and fragile. I get cuts, bruises, and scars easily, like most people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm not going to go into all the symptoms with EDS because there are tons, and I'm just not up to doing a super long video today. So the doctor believes that, and hopefully I have the entire list because I have so many diseases that I forget sometimes what they were saying. but she believes that EDS caused my POTS, my mast cell, my gastroparesis, adrenal insufficiency, osteopenia, and trying to think. I don't know the name of it, but I've lost basically all the muscle mass and like muscle strength. I don't remember. I know that there's a fancier name for that, but so my muscle issues are linked to the EDS too. So, and then she believes that my ulcerative colitis has caused joint disease. I don't have a specific name. I feel like that's a very generic thing to say, joint disease. I feel like it's more of an umbrella term than anything else. I don't feel like it's specific, so I need to get the specifics of that. But when you're in the hospital and so many things are being thrown at you, sometimes you miss stuff, especially specifics like that, because I was being hooked up to the video EEG and talking to two rheumatologists at the same time. So it does get a little bit hectic, and when you're tired and have brain fog and you're weak, you just don't get all the details sometimes. So I have tons of follow-ups though. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'm just gonna do this very briefly because I feel like more people know about ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is part of inflammatory bowel disease, which is autoimmune. A lot of people know the sister disease more, I feel like, which is Crohn's. Ulcerative colitis is very, very similar to Crohn's, but it affects more so the lower GI tract, which is why it's confusing for me, because with the gastroparesis, I have upper GI tract issues. So it kind of makes me wonder, okay, is this really ulcerative colitis? Are we dealing with Crohn's? Or like, which one is it? I mean, it's kind of really hard to tell at this point in my body because there's so much going on. And I don't really think there's a difference with treatment plans, honestly, at this point. So it doesn't really matter. I have IBD, and that's the bottom line. So in any autoimmune disease, your immune system becomes overactive and extremely confused, and it begins to attack you instead of viruses or bacteria, which a healthy immune system would do, just attack bacteria and viruses and stuff that shouldn't be there. In autoimmune, it attacks you, it attacks your joints, and in IBD, obviously, your stomach, intestines, colon, stuff like that. For me, I had lots of ulcers, bleeding, and I'm trying to even think, tons of abdominal pain. I struggle with eating quite often. The only reason I can keep weight on is steroids. Yeah, so that's kind of just the brief, very, very brief overview of ulcerative colitis. I do have a little bit more about my ulcerative colitis story in a video, me and IBD, which I will put the link in the description. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be making more videos about the hospital because, like I keep saying, I have so much to tell you guys. So much happened. It was just a very busy admission. So I will see you guys soon. Bye.